Hey, this is Peyton, and I'm ready to rant. And today I'm going to be ranting about a movie, much like I did in my previous Ready to Rant on the new 2023 Super Mario Bros. Movie. And I actually really enjoyed that film. The longer I've sat on it, the more I've kind of just accepted that movie for what it is instead of, looking for the flaws that I have seen in that film. Like, I'm warming up to it more and more with time. But I just wanted to say that quick because this video is very much so not about the 2023 Mario movie. No, this rant is actually about the 1993 original movie featuring the Super Mario Bros. Called Super Mario Bros. My whole life, I have very purposefully avoided watching that movie because, well, first of all, very, very early internet videos and reviewers, such as the Nostalgia Critic, reviewed that movie, and it was always so weird to me as a kid. I was like, there was a Super Mario Bros. Movie in live action? Like, how would that work? And spoiler alert, the short answer is it kind of doesn't, but like those reviews basically were like, oh my gosh, this movie is awful, and I only saw like one or two of them, but it was enough to basically ward me off from ever watching that movie. But now that we have what I would consider like a proper Super Mario Bros. Movie, like we now have a film that represents the games and represents them very well. And now that we have that film, I basically hit the point where it's like, you know what? What is the worst that movie could do? The worst it could do is just be bad, and I could be like, wow, I'm really glad this isn't the only thing we have anymore. So I sat down, I watched it, and I have never felt more like I was on some sort of drug while watching a movie. I cannot believe what the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Movie is like. I'm talking about the whole film here. Spoiler alert. There you go. I'm talking about everything. If you haven't seen it, the short answer, but my short review is like, it's basically the inverse of the previous movie. Like, as a Mario movie, it's like a 3. It's like, this is nothing like what I would expect from a Super Mario Bros. Movie. I don't know what the heck. But in terms of a movie that, like, it uses the Super Mario Bros. Universe as like a launching pad to create its own weird rules and like settings and characters. In terms of like that and just general watchability, personally, I'd give it like a 7. It's if you like at some point while watching that movie manage to tell yourself this is not a Mario movie. To a degree, because there's no way to pretend it's not the whole time with all the stuff going on in it. But if you manage to be like, you know what, I'm just going to watch this as a movie, it's kind of a fun time. It's actually fairly enjoyable, like as its own weird, never ever going to be repeated thing. Especially, again, now that we have the Illumination film. Which, by the way, I never realized that the original Super Mario Bros. Live action film and this new one are exactly 30 years apart from one another. It's been exactly 30 years now since the original came out. That's kind of crazy to me. It's kind of cool that it's on such a significant anniversary for that film that we get an animated one. But I've talked enough around the movie. The movie itself is really strange. Like, just to put yourself in the mindset that I think it's best to watch this movie in, you should go into this movie just with an open mind, because like the reason I never watched it is because, again, I like the Mario series so much. I knew watching this film would just kind of annoy me because it's like, even if I enjoyed it, which again I did, but like even if I enjoyed it, I would always be like, how is this the only movie we have to represent Mario? But for me, at least, now that we finally have this new film that is a good representation of the games, sitting down and watching it at the beginning, I really didn't like it. The opening of this film has been burned in my mind. Again, thanks to that very old Nostalgia Critic video. I'll be sure to link that in the description. And it's like, just seeing the opening of that movie where it's like Mario narrating it. It's like, a long time ago, the dinosaurs got hit by a meteorite and they all got killed. But what if they weren't killed and they actually got teleported to a different dimension? It's like, It is the most insane interpretation of the Mario games I've ever seen. And it's from what was at the time the only official movie for the Mario games. And technically not the only one. I think there was like an anime one before that live action one, but that's a story for another time. But yeah, so the movie opens up and it's immediately nothing like Mario. And as you keep watching this film, the references to Mario are almost all in name, to jump super far ahead. The only thing that is like, yep, that's basically one-to-one with the games is the little bomb that they use in the fight against Bowser way, way, way later in the movie. And it is so funny, some of the stuff they come up with. Like, the main princess in this movie isn't Peach, it's Daisy.
Your name's Daisy, isn't it? I overheard your name was Daisy. You know what? I haven't heard that name around here. It's really nice, too.
I looked it up, and again, this film came out in 93, and 4 years before it, Super Mario Land was new, because I'm like, how would even the executives know about Daisy? Like, wouldn't Super Mario Land have been relatively new? And if, like, you want to think about how long movies take, and all the sets in this film, like, this movie clearly had a lot of time put into it. Like, the sets in this film are gorgeous. But, like, if you want to think about it in terms of how long it would have taken them to get this movie, like the script written and then the actors together and filming and all that, like, I can see how it's like, yeah, Daisy might have been like the new princess at the time, so they're like, oh, we'll use her as the main character. But it is just so funny how Princess Daisy is the main princess in this movie. Peach isn't even brought up. She's never addressed in this film. And like, one of the opening scenes is like, there's this egg that's taken to this orphanage, and like these nuns are there, and it opens up, it's like this cyborg egg, and there's a baby inside. This is one of the best tone-setting openings for a film ever, because the tone is basically, were you expecting Mario? Well, think again. This is nothing like that. This is a random 90s sci-fi adventure movie. And it's set in the dinosaur dimension where tiny dinosaurs are eating stuff in the street and the cars are sparking with electricity all the time for no reason. And everybody's eating other tiny lizards, even though the people here are evolved from lizards. And like Dennis Hopper, who plays Bowser, sticks his tongue out at one point and it's a dinosaur lizard tongue. It's just insane. And oh my gosh. But yeah, so the bros, they go down into the sewers, of course they do. It's actually funny, the opening of this movie and the 2023 one are very similar, because both of them basically are like, the bros go down into the sewers and they find a portal to another dimension, and that dimension is where the rest of the movie takes place until the finale, where they go back to Brooklyn. It's very structurally similar, which is funny, despite how vastly different these two films are in about every department. But yeah, they go into a portal with Daisy, and when they're there, they end up getting separated. Daisy and Mario and Luigi end up getting taken by, like, the goombas there, which is one of the most infamous parts of this film. The goombas are, like, these 8-foot tall, tiny-headed creatures, which is about as much the opposite design-wise of a Goomba you could possibly do. Like, you could not fathom a more directly opposed creature to a Goomba, which is a mushroom. They're dinosaurs in this movie. It is, oh my gosh, it doesn't end with this film. And the plot, can't even barely remember what happens. Like, there is a story as you're watching, like, it makes sense why stuff is happening, but once Mario and Luigi and Daisy get separated, things just go off the rails. Like, Mario and Luigi get interrogated by Bowser, and I'm gonna keep calling him Bowser, but they never call him that in the movie, I believe. His name is Koopa. He is King Koopa in this world. And he basically starts interrogating Mario and Luigi and saying, you guys need to give me this piece of meteorite, which it turns out Daisy is wearing as a necklace because she is the daughter of the previous king of this world, who Bowser de-evolved into mushrooms using this de-evolution gun.
I want you to meet my father.
which whenever he shoots anybody with it, it's this beautiful, not at all dated CG effect that, like, he shoots a human with it. They become a
Monkey!
Mario and Luigi use it against him in the finale. He turns back into a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And I can't even like remember the rest of the plot because like it's just constantly on the move, and there are so many different like set pieces in this film. Like, credit where credit is due, this is a high effort movie. This was not just some rush job to cash in on the games. Like, somebody had a vision working on this, man. Seeing all the different areas they go to and all the different characters they meet. Like, they go to this nightclub at one point and they have to get the piece of meteorite back from the nightclub's owner, who is meant to be one of the fish from Mario 3, and it's hanging between her boobs, and for some reason, Mario's like, I know how I'm gonna get it, I'll bite it out. It's so absurd. It literally feels like a fever dream watching this movie, and it is incredibly enjoyable. And this whole thing started off as like under the pretense of a review, but I kind of don't want to like go too much further into like specific scenes in the movie. There's just so much that like I feel is worth seeing in this film, because you would never believe it or fully understand it, even hearing about it. Even watching individual clips online does not do this movie justice. Mario and Luigi get trapped in an elevator with all the gigantic non-goombas at one point, and to get out of that situation, Luigi just starts swaying one back and forth to the music of the elevator, and like, he does another one then when the first one starts dancing on its own, and he keeps going, and eventually they're all just swaying and dancing together to the music, and it's like, what? Who thought of this? How do you even conceive of this for a Mario movie? How do you play the Mario games at the time, which were all like the 8-bit ones, and think, yes, I know exactly where to take a plot for this? It's insane. It is patently ridiculous in the best way possible, because I started saying way earlier that it's like, at a certain point for me, again, I want to stress, I was like hating this movie for like the first 5 minutes. I'm like, this is awful. This is a piece of garbage. But at a certain point, and I feel like this would if you've ever felt like that about like this movie, just like, oh my gosh, this is nothing like Mario, just from the clips you can tell, and it's like, man, I have no interest in watching this, because it's not what a Mario movie should be. If you have felt like that, I cannot say this enough. Give this movie a chance, because at a certain point for me, it completely just made me snap in terms of like, this is not Mario, this is bad, this is not Mario, this is bad. It broke through, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm watching. It's not Mario, but like, I just need to know what happens. Now that we have a true Mario movie with this animated one, this film is one of the most enjoyable, insane, unhinged, another synonym for crazy movies I have ever had the pleasure of watching. And I highly, highly recommend it, because it just needs to be seen to be fully believed, is the very best way I could put it. And it is helped at least by, like, all of the main cast. Bob Hoskins as Mario, especially. Like, John Leguizamo Luigi is good. It's not anything like Luigi, but he just is he does the role in such a way that his character is very likable. Dennis Hopper as Bowser is the weirdest casting ever, but I kind of love it because of that. And unfortunately, the actress who plays Daisy has slipped my mind. I'll throw her name on screen. But even her, like, she does a really good job. All of the actors are done incredibly well. And again, Bob Hoskins' Mario watching this really made me understand why so many people like the Brooklyn Mario accent. I still prefer the Italian one, just because it's in the games and it's the one Mario is most known to have. But watching this film and seeing Hoskins' take on Mario as a character, I'm like, this is an incredibly unique, likable interpretation of Mario. It's very enjoyable to watch. And the cast of this film they help elevate it to another level of watchability, because all of them give really good performances, even if they are not the performances that you would ever like expect to be associated with these Nintendo characters. So yeah, if you have seen the 93 Super Mario Bros. Movie, please tell me what you think about what I think about this movie. Tell me if there's any scenes that you wish I had covered here, because there's there's so many you could talk about. And if you haven't seen it, I cannot recommend it enough. It is very easy to find this film online. Just please go watch it if you haven't. It is, as somebody who again avoided this for years and years because I'm like, this isn't Mario, this can't be good. I ate my words very happily having finally seen it. And yeah, I could probably go on, but I would probably just keep describing random scenes in this film. So this has been Payton, and I'm done ranting.